Alright, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Collage Commentary. Essentially, the reason for why I'm creating this series is because, one, it'll act as an insight of what goes on through my drawing process and how I go about creating a piece. And two, it'll also be a breakdown of how much thought is put into a piece like this. Because it feels like not too many people really pay attention to how much detail I put into these, and it feels like a couple of people just acknowledge the piece and then just move on. So I want to really break down just how much thought and detail goes into these. And the first episode that we'll be doing a commentary on is of this one, What If T'Challa Became a Star-Lord? Which is one of my favorite episodes from the What If series. So let's dive into how I go about creating this. So here's just a rough layout of what the piece will look like. This is me just telling myself what I want to be added, what I essentially want going on throughout the whole piece, and to make any corrections. I just make a few notes to myself and what changes should be made along the way. And as you can see with the official sketch version, this is a more in-depth version of what I was going for and just telling myself what the whole thing is basically going to look like, the spacing between everything, and just a more clear layout of how everything is going to look. And now lastly, we have the first line art that I'm going to be working with. From there, we'll be doing the official line art and the colors. This is basically just a now refined version of what I'm going to be doing, and just once again, where everything is going to go. There are definitely still going to be a few changes made along the way, but more or less, this is what I want the piece to essentially look like. Alright, so let's get into the breakdown of this whole piece. So I'll be starting over here in the left top corner, and I'll be making my way down, and then going across, making my way to the right, all the way up top, and then we'll cover the centerpiece at the very end. And, oh, oh my gosh. Alright, since we've accidentally appeased the Disney overlords, let's jump right into this. So, right in the corner over here, we have in his own panel outside of the cover of this issue is the Watcher. Pretty much just isolated from the entire piece, essentially watching over everything, right? And in his own isolated space, he's a silhouette among this vast cosmos with all these stars and nebula, and just a vast space within this isolated area. Now, one thing that I wanted to do, and I didn't want to do it sloppily, was when it came to integrating titles to a lot of these pieces. Unfortunately, I couldn't really do it to some of them, but for this one, I wanted to integrate the title in a very clever way. So I thought, instead of just throwing, like, Star-Lord's name somewhere on the piece, I thought of an interesting visual appeal, which is have a speech bubble kind of come right from the Watcher, and he's saying the title of the piece, What If T'Challa Became a Star-Lord? I thought that was a much better representation, because one, you know, it essentially represents the Watcher's role, which is watching over, you know, that week's episode or that week's scenario, and just making a much more appealing title than just putting Star-Lord's name on the cover of this without any thought, right? So moving right along underneath him, we just have a few nice little things. I just wanted to add it in to give the piece more life. We have right here. So underneath him, we have that nice picture of Drax holding T'Challa. Nothing really meaningful behind that. I just thought it'd be a nice addition to this piece. I just wanted to throw in a couple of Easter eggs and notable moments from the episode, which you'll see throughout the piece. And right underneath, we have the Celestial Head of Nowhere, and right next to it, we have the plant thing, the name is slipping my mind, that the heist centers around. And these two are next to each other because it's meant to establish where this artifact is located and how it impacts that environment later on. And I feel like the green is definitely something that kind of catches your eye when you focus on this blue alone. And I feel like it's like spike, impact, background really helps it catch your eye. So underneath that, we have Yondu with a little song note as he's whistling his arrow. And to create another nice visual appeal for the piece, is I have the arrow going through all of these Ravager's soldiers, and lastly just kind of wraps around T'Challa. And if we zoom in on them, you can see just like where the arrow goes and where it impacts, where it goes in and out through another character and into another soldier, into another, even does a little loop here to hit that one. And they're even dropping their weapons, even being like, you just see like the impact of them. Even though they're only silhouettes, you can definitely see that they've definitely been impacted by that arrow. And I just wanted to create this, again, this chaotic yellow impact space to also kind of draw your eye later on to the bottom. But we'll get to that in a second. So another just nice detail I just wanted to add was Star-Lord's helmet, or T'Challa's helmet. I just like the glowing of the purple lenses and the just the nice kind of redesign to the original Star-Lord helmet. Right underneath, we have the character of Korath, just kind of like happily shouting his name, which I thought was another fun gag contrast compared to the original moment. And he's even just like, he's just happy to just be right underneath his hero, and even having him in his visual. So now, right at the bottom, I just wanted to have this nice standout shot of the crew, just to kind of just show like all the colorful characters that we'll be getting in this episode, like Thanos, Yondu, T'Challa, Nebula. This character's name is unfortunately slipping my mind. Unfortunately I can't remember, but I know it's Sean Gunn's character, and then Taserface. So just a nice group shot, and another cool shot from the episode, just to just show like how different this universe is from the original Guardians universe. So now we can make our way to the right side. So right at the bottom here, we have the Ravager ship picking up young T'Challa. Down here, right? This kind of like triangular unknowity against the small child. And right above is his father. And what this does is it creates this visual metaphor of the distance between the two. And right in between them is just this colorful, chaotic mess of the galaxy. And I feel like that's just a detail not too many people will pick up on, is just the distance between a father and his son. So I wanted that to be incorporated in this, just to kind of do some light storytelling throughout the whole piece. And so, like I said, between them, this kind of chaotic mess, we have the Collector here, kind of towering over kind of just the rest of his minions and the colorful characters, you know, that being the Black Order members right here. Alright, there's all 4 of them. Even his slave, and even Cosmo the Space Dog and Howard the Duck, which I included a small speech bubble just to kind of have him say a phrase that he says throughout the episode. Just some nice text or for the viewer to read. And once again, I just have him just being this huge towering figure right above all of them, just to show how much power he has over them. And also surrounding him is this vast collection of alien species and weapons and artifacts. And right inside them, I just threw in a few. Here's a dark elf, for instance. And then here's a rhinoceros. Not sure if it's from Wakanda or not, but could be. And just a nice little xenomorph right there. And just a few other colorful cages. And then right over here, for his artifact and weapons collection, there's Captain America's shield, there's Thor's hammer. Here are the assortments of the Dark Elf daggers that he used, this fist that he took from Korg, I assume, the Rock character, and Hela's helmet, among just other weapons and artifacts that he's collected throughout the galaxy. And right surrounding T'Challa's father, T'Chaka, I put these small Wakandan letters just to show how much advanced Wakanda's technology has become. And I just have him kind of over here, just, you know, in a way, just searching the whole galaxy for his son. You know, he's up here in his isolated space. And so lastly, the whole centerpiece, and what I imagine draws the viewer's eye as a whole, is T'Challa himself. And I feel like making this the centerpiece is definitely the whole point of the episode, and just a nice dedication to Chadwick Boseman. And then I figured making this the centerpiece is just meant to focus on T'Challa himself, and just as a nice dedication to Chadwick Boseman for his portrayal as the character, and just Chadwick Boseman himself. And he's just saying a common phrase that T'Challa says in the episode, which is, "A Ravager never flies solo," which you could kind of just interpret as, it's okay to ask for help, or no one's ever really alone. There's always people who will always fly with you into danger. Oh yes, and so lastly, so what this piece is based off of, it's based off of this original piece, as you can see here, by Dan Hipp, and this is of the original Guardians of the Galaxy cover that he did. And this essentially inspired me to create this whole series as a whole, and wanted me to try out these collage type posters. And so if you look at the two, they definitely have a very similar layout, and it's just meant to be a kind of like homage to this original piece. Like, not only does it kind of mirror it, and even though there are some clear differences, there's a sense of you're able to tell what this is. Like, it reminds you of the original piece, which is essentially what the concept of What If is. Taking something that we're all familiar with, but putting a nice, clever spin on it. Alright, so that's going to do it for episode 1 of Collage Commentary. Now, this is a very important thing that I need a lot of you to do, and that is to type Ocean Bacon in the comments. I know it sounds ridiculous, but trust me, because by doing this, it'll notify me that a lot of you are actually watching these videos in full. And even though I'm obviously going to make more of these in the future, regardless, it'll definitely kind of just further push me to make more of these commentary videos, because I'll know that a lot of people are watching my videos in full. Because it feels like not too many people are actually watching these videos, or at least they're not watching them in full whenever I make these long, elaborate videos. So please, if you made it this far into the video, or pretty much just made it to the end of this, please type Ocean Bacon, because that'll really tell me that there are people who will actually listen to me break down a piece for a couple minutes. And with that being said, thank you for taking the time to take a couple minutes out of your day to watch this video. And I really hope it gave you an insight of just how much work goes into pieces like this. And I really hope that with these upcoming collages, you'll be able to definitely start paying more attention, trying to understand some small storytelling, as well as pick up on a few visual metaphors. So, that's about it. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it once again. And, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next Collage Commentary, Episode 2. Have yourself a blessed day, and continue to stay gold, my friend. This is Tyrone McLeod, and peace.
What did you say? Sway.